So the G7 summit. Now we know that the G7 summit happened over the weekend, over last weekend, and what did they actually discuss? Now this is the buzz, like I say always. This is talking about everything business, tech, entrepreneurship, and what we're bringing to you on the buzz is on Relax Radio all throughout the week is all good vibes. If it comes to mindfulness, if it comes to positive or mental health, if it comes to drama, if it comes to world or the economy, talking about real talk, talking about conversations, and especially COVID these days, right? If it comes to sports, now Europa has also started these days, and what started last Friday actually. So where are you going to get your updates? This is the only place you can get your updates from. This is the buzz. I'm your host Tim. Now I'm going to be with you all the way till 3 p.m. Now talking about further conversations around the G7 summit and what the energy tech sector has basically come to in terms of decisions or in terms of conclusions. What has Boris Johnson actually said with what are the conclusions? What I'm going to do is I'm going to be breaking down all these for you over the evening. Stay tuned right here. While after I show you a couple of videos, I'll be right back with you, and I'll be updating on everything if it comes to the cost of the examples. Let's say, for example, the best performing customers on electricity. How electric vehicles are showing positive signs for the users. And then even I'll be going into different towns or different cities. If it comes to Bristol, if it comes to flexible or agile peak electricity conversations, what these are going to basically break down what companies, if it's British Gas, if it is SSE, EON, Npower, EDF, Scottish Power, all these, right? Now, these all have combinations from market to supply as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be breaking down these for you. Stay tuned right here on The Buzz if you want to hear all about this.
Climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that would improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation? to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again. It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It'll make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when you, if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there.
I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And yeah, on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
That's right. This is Relax Radio. We are on all streams: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. If you name it, we're on it, basically. And also, don't forget to download our app. Our app is available on the App Store, on Google Play as well. If you want to download it, you can just select it, and it's free. You can get it down and have a listen to what we're saying during the day. Throughout the week, anything we're updating, we are with you on the weekends as well. So coming back to the buzz right now, my name is Tim. I'm with you till 3 p.m. I'm going to be talking to you about, all things business, tech, and entrepreneurship. We have Samad coming in and saying hello. Hi, Samad. It's a pleasure to have you here. Appreciate you commenting. Feel free to listen throughout. I'm going to be breaking down, what the UK energy tech basically draws backing at home and overseas, right? And, talking about how the G7 summit has, how when it comes to electrical vehicles, when it comes to electrical workforce, how some cars are actually, helping people make money from the surplus supply, right? Now, there is a new breed of electric tariffs according to, people in terms of, and allowing customers to build vehicle-to-grid chargers from their top-tier barriers. And, when it comes to their batteries also, they can basically consume low and then sell it back at a profit, where the demand is basically higher. Now, I mean, my question here is having an electric vehicle an asset? Is having an electric vehicle actually, gonna help you make money? Now, these are all conversations that we like to have. Even if it comes to having solar panels in your house, right? Now, if it comes to having solar in your house, you need to understand if if you are going to have actually a return on investment. I was actually having a conversation with a friend last week, right? And then we were talking about how it is important for the world to go green. It is important for the world to come to a point where we find a lot of positive return in terms of a financial aspect as well for people. If you don't incentivize, going green, people are not going to be too for it. So, talking about the best performing customers and, how they make a net benefit over about £500 a year. And the extreme examples are quite beyond that. So, Connor Maher McWilliams is the head of flexibility at, OVO's technology arm. This is at Kaluza. And when it comes to Bristol-based OVO and London's Octopus are the biggest of a small energy supplier. And now this is not only intelligent, but when it comes to the software platforms, these are underpinning such tariffs and are attracting attention. These are attracting attention to international investors. Now there is a flurry of deals helping them pass £1 billion of valuations. But then, breaking down the rise of companies specializing in, energy or technology and tech, as these rivals are accessing their softwares to mark the latest front in, a radical shape up. So, when you're talking about the European, utility sector, you need to consider how forward, our industries are, how present our conversations are, how we think, when it comes to conversation around progress or the green conversation. You need to understand how progressive we are, because when it comes to this, it's not just the fact that we add a couple of laws, or it's not just the fact that we add a couple of concerns, but whereas we actually go the extent of we go past the extent in understanding what the world needs, or understanding what the where the world needs to be. So what we do is talking with another presentation, when it comes to talking with another option, what we do is we understand now when it comes to the conversation of people, and when it comes to the conversation of progress, when it comes to the conversation of the next few generations, this is what we need to be concerned about. But people are not going to be too immediately motivated by just the loss that they might have. But whereas we need to look at a long term, I'd say my personal take, I want to know what your take is. I want to know what your opinion is in terms of understanding where the market can go, what people are supposed to do. So do you think people should actually run around in terms of understanding what their take is with the conversation around progress, with the conversation around the green future, our generations, the next few generations in the world, how reliable are we leaving this planet's resources for them? Now it was said that when it comes to the Amazon, it was actually calculated. Scientists had actually calculated and said that the outcome, the carbon produced was actually for the first time higher than the oxygen produced. Now that is it's such a it's a bad conversation in terms of where we are going, how we're exhausting our resources. So you need to understand now in terms of a series of acquisitions. Now these assets and sales over the last decade in transforming energy. This is not just energy. I'm talking about all types of energy groups. And when you're looking at owning everything from oil, gas production, household business supplies, as they navigate to a global shift away from fossil fuels, you need to understand how fast or how much faster we can actually get people to run in the lines of progress. Or when I say progress, I mean a greener future, right? But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come into understanding and explaining if it's a flexible or an agile deal, understanding how British electricity supply markets are different, and then going in the lines of flexibility, talking about how the future is going to be Australia's origin when it comes to 20% holdings, what I'm going to do. So stay tuned right here. I'm going to show you a couple of videos of who we are at Relax Radio, and I'll be right back.
now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. An inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Oh, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, has how much it's changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
In comparison to now.
Not at all. Not now. The way things are nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no. If that makes sense. They can't
accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you, how did I do? Or you didn't do very well, and they get upset, And I was a youngster. My father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young. Well, I still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, I'd say to me, "You had one to forget." That's it.
Yeah, that sounds like a smart guy. I mean, yeah, that's the real fact of the matter. Yeah.
He'd say to me, "You had one to forget. Get over it," and that was it. So I dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. An inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Oh, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
That's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much. A lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely